Okay, so I don't know how well this audio is going to work. Bit of wind noise and all that, but we'll see how we go. So we're out on the flats today, just having a flick around. I'm more out here just to show people, how we're using these bent minnows. We've had a few inquiries about it. So first thing you do is find a nice flat where you think you're going to find some big flathead. You know where there's some big flathead. And then you want to look at your wind direction, because the longer you can cast it, the better chance of you getting the fish is. So you don't want to be casting into the wind and only casting 20 metres. You want to be getting with that wind direction and casting the lure as far as you can. Okay, so you want to cast it out as far as you can, and then it's as simple as taking up the slack, and then a couple of twitches, let it sit, repeat, couple of twitches, let it sit, couple of twitches, and let it sit. You want to do that pretty much all the way back to the boat. Sometimes you'll see a flathead actually follow it up, and if they're not interested and you see them go down, keep throwing. A lot of the times they will come up again. Now if you're retrieving and you get a flathead come up and boof it but miss it, let it sit there for a few seconds, give it a little bit of a twitch. Then what you want to do is, if you don't get a second hit, cast straight back out over the top of them again, like out past them, and slow your retrieve down just a little bit more. So you just want to cast it out, come back over the top of them where you roughly know you got the boof, just little twitches, let it sit, and then just little twitches, and what will happen is it'll get too much for them and they'll come back up and have another crack at it. Don't be scared to throw at it another 10 times. Like I hooked one there the other week that I missed. Took me another 5 goes before it decided to want to come back up and have another crack. That ended up being an 83. So don't be scared of throwing back out and chasing the ones that you missed. And I just scared a big flathead off then. Excellent. All right, keep going, see how we go. Now the gear I'm using a Shimano Sahara. It's a 4 to 6 kilo rod, and I'm also using a Penn Fierce 2 4000 size reel. The reason I'm using such a big setup is because when you're fishing around tight structure, you're going to need it. You hook up to a big flathead in tight structure, you need something that you can put some backbone into. So don't be afraid to use the big gear. Not only that, it's actually easier to cast these bigger lures with a little bit stronger rod. If you're going to use a stronger rod, then you put the bigger reel on it to suit it. You will get used to it. They do get a bit tiresome to chuck sometimes. When you're on the sand flats like this, you don't have to run such big gear, but this is my big flathead setup, so I just use it all the time. My leader, I'm using 30-pound mono leader. The reason I use mono is because it doesn't have the sink rate that fluorocarbon does, and I'm using 15-pound braid, because not only that, I use this for dew as well, so that's just my setup for bigger fish. Don't be scared to use the smaller stuff, but expect more bust-offs if you're going to use the smaller gear. And the truth is, you really want to get that fish in as quick as you can, so if you want a good healthy release, the quicker you get it in, the quicker they can swim off. I've got some darker patches coming up here, a little bit of weed, darker patches of deeper water. So we're going to throw out over the top of them and see if we can bring something up. I'm not expecting to catch too much today. I don't like the wind blowing from the south, but you can't control the weather. So we'll go and see what we can get down here. Oh, yeah. Oh no! Oh. He come up and hit that straight on the surface. He might come back for that. He did hit it. He did hit it, but he might come back. Oh, get it back out there. That's where it's at. I'm throwing over this deep hole. There's a spit over there and he's sitting right on the edge of that deep hole. That was a good fish. Wasn't a world beater, but it was a good fish.